Okay, so I know recently a lot of my videos have been a lot of project breakdowns and talking about my mentality and mindset when I'm out shooting and my style, but I want to try and bridge a gap here and strike a balance between talking about, practical advice while you're out shooting, how I shoot and capture sports content, but also talk about things like gear and answer questions specifically you guys had. And really, one of the main questions I've been getting a lot lately is just about accessories that I use to make myself a more efficient content creator, to make sports content easier to capture. And that's what today's video is all about. I want to talk about 3 accessories, 3 pieces of gear that aren't a camera or a lens that I always have with me whenever I'm out capturing sports content, no matter the situation. Is that a fingerprint on my filter? Sorry, guys. Obviously, I could talk about cameras and lenses all day, and if you go back into my YouTube channel, you can find other videos where I've talked about the cameras and the lenses I use. But today, I want to focus on just 3 underrated accessories that I didn't know I needed until I bought them, that have really changed the way I capture sports or communicate with other people while capturing sports, and just things that have helped me in a lot of different situations, whether it's covering a live game, shooting a media day, any kind of situation as a sports creative I have found myself. I wish I had all of these 3 accessories that I'm about to mention at the start, because they've made my life so much easier and they've just increased my efficiency as a creator tenfold. I do want to be clear though, these are all pieces of gear, accessories that I use and personally can vouch for, and there's no brand attachment or sponsorship to this video. While I do have a bit of a relationship with one of these brands, they aren't paying me to include them in this video. They aren't doing anything of the sort. Really, these are just truly my own opinions and thoughts, and then I'm gonna just let you guys make the decision on to whether any of these pieces of gear can make it into your workflow and help your creative process. Now, the first accessory I want to talk about isn't the sexiest thing in the world, and that is investing into high quality memory cards, whether it is a V90 card or a CF Express type card. Investing and getting higher quality memory cards has been a game changer for me in terms of my efficiency as a sports content creator. The card I specifically use are these ProGrade V90 128GB cards, and like I said, I have about 4 of these guys. I've been invested in the ProGrade brand for a while, and while this is not a sponsored video, I did end up connecting with them at Cinegear 2024 in LA when I was there. And after, having a few chats, sending a few emails, they were kind enough to send me a very nice care package with these guys. These are their CF Express Type A cards. This is a 960 gigabyte CF Express Type A card, and I think this is called their Iridium line. This is not a sponsored video, but I do want to thank ProGrade for sending me these guys and a few of their 480 cards and a whole care package. I really, really appreciate it, and I would be remiss to not talk about how these cards have been game changers for me as well. Now, these kinds of cards are basically SD cards on absolute steroids, and there are 2 specific things I really want to touch on that I really like after getting these cards. Number 1, the read and write speeds from my card to my laptop have been insane. I'm transferring like 50 plus gigabytes of footage in less than 5 minutes, less than 4 minutes in certain cases. I don't know the exact stats, but these guys are just very, very quick to read into your computer, onto your hard drive, whatever. So just the speed of transfer, again, when efficiency is top of mind as a content creator, you want to get your content on a hard drive backed up as soon as possible. These guys are incredibly, incredibly quick. And the second thing is the storage on these guys. Now, 128 gigabytes for these SD cards are just fine. And I find when I'm shooting a sports game, I probably fill up at least 1.5 of these throughout a game. With these guys, I pretty much never have to switch cards ever, because the first time I put this into my camera, I was shocked at the fact that at 24 frames per second, at 10-bit 422, I get like some odd 19 hours of record time, which is just absurd versus these guys where I probably get about 2 hours of record time. And you can pretty much tell that with 2 of these cards in my camera, I never have to dump cards during an event, whether it's a sports game, whether it's a wedding. These guys can stay in there the whole time until the end of the event, and then it's a really, really fast transfer onto my hard drives and laptops after. Now, like I said, this isn't a sponsored video, and I want to be very honest and transparent with you guys. I could say so many good things about this card, from the write speeds to the amount of ridiculous data that they can hold. But the main downside about these CF Express Type A cards from ProGrade, and really any CF Type A card, is the price. These 960 gigabyte cards come at about $820 a pop. That's close to $1,000 for a single card, and that's exactly kind of the reason why I never had these cards in the first place until ProGrade gifted me them. So I will say, unless you have very deep pockets or you really want to invest into your memory card game, these are quite expensive, and it's the only really big barrier to entry for using a CF Express system for your memory cards. For comparison's sake, the 128GB card, the V90s by ProGrade, come out about $170 a pop, so significantly more affordable than these guys. And I know people are going to say, but I can just get a $50 card and be done with it. But the fact of the matter is, as cameras evolve and get better, and as you end up upgrading your kit, you're going to need a faster card. So at the start, when I got my A7S III, I just invested in these, and so far every camera I've ever used has been fantastic with these. So the V90 cards, make sure you're investing in high quality data. It's just going to improve and enhance your efficiency as a content creator. And if you ever get the chance to give a CF Express Type A card a try, I know they're very expensive, but the fact that I never have to change cards during a game or an event is kind of a game changer for me. So I'm really excited to keep using these. Thank you to ProGrade for sending me these and the 480GB ones. I'm very excited to keep using them. Like I said, not a sponsored video, but I just want to give them a big thank you for sending me a little care package. Now, the second underrated accessory or piece of gear that I want to talk about also isn't really a sexy option, but one that I really do think will help a lot of people with the main issue I see with a lot of sports creatives is getting stable footage. And that is investing in getting a hi-hat or a monopod, depending on your use case. First up, the hi-hat, and this is exactly what you think it is essentially a mini tripod that sits low to the ground. And now you're probably thinking, well, I already have a tripod. Why don't I just bring that to shoot football or soccer? And while you can do that, when you get to a certain level, events actually don't let you bring tripods because they can be considered a hazard to people on the sideline and also the players if they run into you. These are small, portable, light, easy to move around if you need to get out of the way of the play. And also they sit low to the ground, allowing you to get that low cinematic angle of your athletes at all times. I love this for football. I love it for soccer. I invested in it a few summers ago. And while I don't get a lot of use out of it now that I'm not shooting football or soccer as often, I'm actually going out to Edmonton to shoot for the CFL really soon. And I'm going to be packing this in my bag because, especially for field sports, this thing is just invaluable. And being low to the ground, being able to get stable footage for those sports is an absolute game changer. So if you've never looked into getting one of them and you shoot a lot of field sports, or even something like I said, basketball, where you can kind of get away with this on the sideline, I would highly, highly recommend it. Now, these guys aren't necessarily the cheapest thing in the world because you also need to get a video head with them. I actually just swap my video head from my monopod to my hi-hat or tripod, depending on what I need. And the specific hi-hat I use is a Bendro hi-hat. I also have a Bendro video head, which I put on this when it's not on my monopod or tripod, just for those who are wondering the specific one I use. Same thing with the monopod. I use this mostly for hockey. I also used it for motorsports and a few other things. Completely invaluable. I love this because it's quick, on the go, and much more compact than a tripod, just because it's essentially a tripod with one leg. I also have the speed on it for more stability and flexibility, and this is the video head I was talking about. It's not your typical like little ball tripod head. This is made for video. Very, very durable and very, very large. But yeah, this has kind of been how I get stable footage when I'm not handheld, is either using this or my hi-hat. I would highly recommend you get one or the other depending on your use case, and I really do think that it'll help you get more stable footage and also a different look, especially if you're used to shooting handheld all the time. And continuing to being transparent with you guys, I will say that even though I have a Manfrotto monopod, this is I think this is called the X Pro A4 monopod. I'm not a really big fan of it. I've only had it for about a year and it's kind of already falling apart on me. I had a screw gone. The feet aren't really like connecting to this properly, so I don't know if it's a compatibility issue. There are a lot of models out there. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend this one. Manfrotto is a great company for a lot of things, but maybe it's just me. I just haven't had a good experience with this monopod yet, but there are a lot of different brands that you can find out there that can get you really good results. All right, the third and final underrated piece of gear that I want to talk about is actually a really interesting one because I didn't know I needed these until I tried them and got my own, and that is a pair of Hollyland Solidcom C1 headsets. And as you can tell, I don't have a headset on right now because my business partner and friend Cal Boham has them. So while he has them, I'm gonna let him shoot the B-roll for this. I told him he could do whatever he wants. So we're gonna check in with Kyle while I tell you guys all about these headsets.
Air traffic control, we have a flight trying to dock, bring to land. Air traffic control, are we clear to land? Clearance to land? Web clearance to, oh, Juan, hey man, how you doing? Hope your trip's doing good. Yeah, the Hollyland headsets, love them. They are perfect. Man, my communication skills are +10, and I am so happy that we have this as part of our arsenal for weddings and events and shoots. Yeah, I know I was kind of flying the drone without actually flying it, but like, if you couldn't tell, there's like planes and stuff behind me, so I don't think I can actually take off here. But you know me, I want to be a pilot one day, so practice makes perfect. So anyways,
Now, the first time I ever used these headsets was on set with my friend Nicole Shapiro, and she actually just released a full video about why she loves these. So while I'm gonna not really do them as much justice as I should, go check out her video for sure. But the reason I love these headsets specifically for sports creatives, if you are working with a team of photographers, a team of videographers, if you just have a lot of people in one place shooting a game, it's invaluable to just flip down the microphone, talk into it, and then you're immediately in your partner or your team's ear telling them what you need. So let's say you're shooting a football game and you have one person at the far end of the field and you're on the other end of the field. You can say to them, hey, can you get an ISO shot of this player? Or let's make sure we're watching this play happen, or et cetera, et cetera. You're essentially able to communicate different things to other camera people on your team about what you're looking to capture in those environments. I personally use them for the first time in a film type environment, and I understand the importance of communication, especially in those scenarios. But I really do think that this system is a really interesting add for a lot of creative teams in sports, because a lot of the times you're in different parts of your venue shooting different things, and getting variety, getting different coverage of the event you're covering or the team you're shooting for is really, really important. So while you're shooting a football game, say you're covering the quarterback, you can tell someone on the other end of the field to get an ISO of your wide receiver. Or, you know, if you're playing hockey, you can get someone to get viz of the bench while you're shooting the offensive zone. There's a lot of cases where these headphones will allow you to capture much more variety in the shots you get, especially if you're not just working by yourself. Now, I know these guys are definitely geared towards filmmakers who work on production sets, but I think that their use cases are way more varied than that. I've used them at weddings with Kyle whenever we're shooting them in the off season, and yes, in my off season, I shoot weddings, but we found those to be very invaluable when covering a wedding, and weddings in sports are very, very similar, whether you want to believe that or not. That's a topic for another video though, and I recently got to use them at my first ever sporting event, which was the Honda Indy in Toronto, where me and Nicole were shooting a short documentary on a driver we were working with there. That's part of my 10 films with 10 athletes series coming soon, and it was just really useful to be able to communicate to Nicole without having to pull my phone out to text her. I would again just flip down the microphone and tell her, hey, Mac, the driver, is coming around the corner on my end, and he just moved up into third or fourth place. And then that way she knows when the cars eventually get to her part of the track, and she was pretty far away at times, she knows exactly what position our subject is in and when to capture him. I really, really liked using them for that sporting event specifically, so I definitely can see myself bringing them in the future, especially if I have a second shooter or a team of creatives that I'm working with. My set of Hollyland headsets only comes with 2 pairs, but you can get a set that comes up with 9 pairs of headsets, which is insane depending on how big your creative team is. But I think the main thing with these is just getting wireless communication. No matter where you are in a venue, you can quickly talk to your other camera ops, coordinate what you want to capture, and that will do wonders for the content you're able to produce after a game. So yeah, Hollyland C1 Solidcom headsets, a fantastic add-on, something I wish I had at the start, something I wish I knew about. And if you're looking to up the communication with other people you work with when shooting sporting events, I highly recommend you look into these guys. Also, shout out Kyle for getting me that B-roll. I don't know what you're sending me, but I'm really excited to see it, and hopefully it's entertaining for you guys as well. Again, all the products here I can vouch for because I have personally used, and I have found that they enhance my content creation efficiency and ability to create high quality content. And hopefully one of these is intriguing to you guys and helps you guys in your process as well as a sports creative, no matter what you're capturing or what you're trying to create. And that does it for me in today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys took something away from it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below about any of these products here. And if you guys enjoyed this video, if you learned anything, please consider liking down below and also subscribing if you're new here, as I would really, really appreciate it. And that is it for me in this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.